The country and the legal fraternity has lost a judicial officer who made landmark decisions to drive the country's judiciary. The judiciary, through its spokesperson, His Worship James Seremi Mawanda, expressed its condolences for the loss of the retired Justice of the Supreme Court, Professor George Wilson Kanyeihamba, who played a pivotal role in uplifting the image of the judiciary during his tenure as a judicial officer.
Oh, well, this morning we woke up with the sad news of the passing of our retired Justice, Honorable Mr. Justice G.W. Kanyeihamba. And the news came and we were with the utmost shock. Although we are aware that he has been ailing for some time. However, we really are saddened by that passing because he was an icon in the Supreme Court where he served since he joined the judiciary. So his passing is really a sad moment for us as a judiciary.
Judiciary has also sent condolence message to the entire family of the late and the country for losing such a person who has contributed a lot to the country's development in a legal way.
Of course, as a judge of the Supreme Court, he made a tremendous contribution. And as a judiciary, the Honorable the Chief Justice is going to come up with an eulogy about the late Justice Kanyeihamba, and we shall inform the public accordingly when we get it out. But I must say that he made very great contribution.
What is your message to the family with the condolence?
Of course, first of all, we want to condole with the family of the late Justice Kanyeihamba. We want to condole with the entire country because losing one of us is really a big loss, because we appreciate that each one of us has a contribution to make in the development of this country, and particularly in the area of the rule of law. So we are really saddened. We want to tell the family that we are with them, we condole with them, and may his soul rest in eternal peace.
The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions has also sent its condolences.
The late Honorable retired Justice George Wilson Kanyeihamba was a very brilliant mind that greatly contributed to criminal justice jurisprudence through his very well-reasoned judgments. We, as the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, are privileged to have judgments, very well-reasoned judgments that we usually cite in our cases in courts of law. And therefore, Justice George Kanyeihamba contributed immensely to the growth and development of criminal justice in Uganda. He may have passed on, but his very well-reasoned judgments will continue to live on and have a great impact in this nation and even beyond. May his soul rest in eternal peace. As the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, we commiserate with the family of the Honorable retired Justice George Wilson Kanyeihamba. May the Lord God Almighty comfort you in this very difficult time and also give you strength to go through this very difficult period.
Others who applauded the works of Professor George Wilson Kanyeihamba was the Vice President, Uganda Law Society, Anthony Asimwe.
And his love and passion for constitutionalism. The constitution you see, which is one of the best constitutions, looking at it, he's the brain behind it. And throughout his tenure as the judge up to the level of Supreme Court, we've seen him as the person who has contributed a lot to the jurisprudence of this nation. He's been a clear example of what they call truth. He will speak the truth. He will fight for his independence and judicial independence and the principles of good governance. He's the one judge who came out openly to speak truth to even those in power. And for sure, every other young lawyer and even lawyers in practice will live to remember his contribution to not just governance, good governance, but also the jurisprudence of this country in the legal profession. So what we say as the Ugandan society is we feel we've lost a pillar in the area of law and practice in this country, and we shall forever remember him for his contribution. The country has lost a very big figure, a very important person who has contributed greatly to the development of this nation. We do call upon the young lawyers and the judicial officers to bore a leaf, to pick from George Kanyeihamba, to learn from him, stand for the truth. Do not be shaken. He's one person who would not say one thing and do the other. He's one person who would, fight for his position, for the rule of law, for the truth and justice that we all yearn for.
Other lawyers, including the Attorney General of Busoga Kingdom, Alex Luganda, praised the late Professor George Wilson Kanyeihamba for advocating for the rule of law in the country.
Among the three justices of the Supreme Court that ordered for a re-election of the presidential race, but also came out boldly to declare that the election did not meet the basic minimum of a free and fair election, was Justice George Kanyeihamba. And after that precedent which he set, the courts below, that is the Court of Appeal and the High Courts, have been using his dissenting views on what would amount to a free and fair election in annulling elections of MPs, both in the High Court and at times even when they go to the Court of Appeal. Yes, set a precedent. So, as a person and as a legal practitioner, he helped in standing firm, because very few judges right now would be in position to say that the government is wrong or the president is wrong. So it took guts. Although, as it is said later on in the corridors, maybe it also cost him, because it could have shortened his tenure at the African Court of Justice, where he was serving, representing Uganda, among other things. But we have also seen his name and his indelible ink in jurisprudence to do with like the sedition laws, the Andrew Mwenda constitutional petitions that even went up to the Supreme Court, where the rights of people like you, the journalists, have been uplifted and also respected and enforced. So he will die going down with his head high. And just like we say, for us in law, since we work on precedents, Justice Kanyehamba's legacy is not dying anytime soon. His decisions are going to be quoted 100 years from today. Just like we deal with Lord Denning of the House of Lords in the UK, kids and scholars of law who will be coming 50 years from today will be quoting Justice George Kanyehamba's works.
At the time of his death, at the age of 86, Professor George Wilson Kanyeihamba was a retired justice of the Supreme Court. With the landmark decisions he made was the 2006 presidential election petition filed by Dr. Kizabe Sije, where he dissented with the trial justices of the Supreme Court and ruled that the elections did not comply with the presidential laws. Other decisions was the one of Andrew Mwenda and the Attorney General, where he boldly highlighted on the rights of the media in regards to news reporting. After serving as a judicial officer, Professor George Wilson Kanyeihamba once filed a petition against the president's move to scrap off bail for suspects with capital offences. Although his petition was dismissed by the Constitutional Court justices, Professor George Wilson Kanyeihamba was an author and a politician who wrote books, among others, The Constitution and the Political History of Uganda, commonly used by students in universities.